Good evening everyone and welcome to Great Deltan. Today is a layout update for November and all the work I've been doing during the end of September and October. Before we get started, a couple of announcements. I've reached another milestone with the channel, reaching 10,000 total views, so thank you for that, and I am just about 45 subscribers away from 500 subscribers. So thank you all to those who support the channel, and it's all because of you that I'm at this point. Hopefully I can get to my milestone end target of 1,000 subscribers. As the channel develops and grows, hopefully I'll be able to reach that, and as my skills as a modeler develop, then hopefully the channel will only get better. Another quick announcement, I will now be filming with a different camera. Previously I was using my iPad, which, while it was sufficient, did have its drawbacks. It was very pixelated on the zoom, it gave an awful ripple effect when focusing on anything light, and it just only had 8 megapixels. So now I have purchased and invested in a Sony FDR AX53. It's much better, and that's what I use for running session 5, and you might be able to tell by the shots I took there, it is a much better camera. So that's what I'll be using for that. At the last layout update in September, I was just at the point of finishing ballasting the track after putting in the details before ballast, and I have now finished all of the track detail. If you watch part 2 of that video, it's turned out quite well and I'm happy with a lot of the results, including the signal gantry and this area down here and my buffer stops. I have had a couple of issues, and the rails that I put between the tracks were sticking up a little bit too high and they were actually grounding the train, stopping them from moving. And that is the same with the AWS ramps, which I did have here. As soon as the class 70 went over it, it stopped. So I've had to remove those. I'm not sure why, I thought I stuck them down correctly, but clearly not. But yeah, other than that, the track detail works well. So, on with the layout update now, and to start with we shall cover this crossover area here, in which I have now added scenery to. This area will be used for photography of any stock which I weather, or new stock which I wish to show on the Facebook page. And it's just a better area than what I have anywhere else in the layout, and it allows me to get better camera angles as well. I'm actually more happy with this scenery than I am with anything over the current area. So who's to say that that area won't also receive this sort of effect? It's lighter ballast, it's a different effect of static grass, and it's just a bit simpler. So I am happy with how that's turned out. I've also just added a little bit of basic weathering to the track there, and a fence for some interest. I have also added another LED light over this crossover scenery area to add a lot more light if I'm going to be doing photography. I can have that on a chain so I can get it out of the way when I'm not using it, and then when I want to take some photographs I'll just lower it down. You'd be surprised at how much more light reaches that area than the rest of the layout. Following on from this crossover scenery, you might also notice that I've installed a number of back scenes now. When I started this layout I had no intention of putting any back scenes in, so it was a bit of a challenge, but I've managed to come with a bit of a compromise and use some thin material to stick the back scenes to, and I've managed to wedge a lot of them between the shed skin and the actual layout, and that's sort of how they're being held there, apart from the ones for this crossover area which are just stuck on some wood and then bolted to the frame of the baseboard. I use the Gauge Master ones, which I think might be a little bit out of scale, but they work well with the scenery. Not so much round the urban areas though, they might be a little bit out of scale. I have encountered a couple of problems with them. Number one is that I used PVA glue, which you should never do if you're wanting to do good back scenes, because the paper just absorbs all the moisture out of the glue, and then you get these horrible ripples, which I've tried my best to push down. So more than likely one day these back scenes will be replaced. And the other thing is, on two sides I used cardboard as opposed to wood, and it has warped a bit and bent round. There is quite a bit of pressure on the screw fix over there, which is right at the edge of the baseboard. So some lessons learnt for the future, but overall the cross scenes look quite good and they do bring the scene to life a lot. The next thing I shall talk about is the new additions of stock to Great Deltan. You might have noticed from running session 5 that there is a lot of new items of stock you might not have seen before, and that is because as I was scrolling the Facebook marketplace one day I came across one sale and I purchased this. So I purchased these items from the guy online, but I asked a very dangerous question of what else do you have for sale, and it turns out this gentleman had a Aladdin's cave full of N-gauge stock. So I purchased a lot from him and I'll put it all in the running session. So I'll get through all of this as quick as I can. There is quite a few new additions. I'll just talk about them quickly and yep, we'll move on to the next part. To start with, we have the Direct Rail Services Class 37 by Graham Farish, which I purchased off the gentleman on Facebook. It does have a decoder in, but I can't program it at the minute and I'll explain why in a bit. Next we have the KUA Nuclear Flask Wagons by Revolution Trains. I wanted these because they look like really good models, but I was unable to find anywhere the DRS 37 or the Mark II brakes to go with it for a reasonable price. Until I found this guy on Facebook who sold me them for a very good price, so I was fortunate to find them and I really do like the train. It looks like a very good train going around the layout. And the DRS Mark IIs are by Graham Farish as well. Next up is the new measurement train by Network Rail. I have the end cars by Dapple. One of them is DCC fitted at the minute, so I could get it running for the running session, but the dummy car still needs a decoder for the lights. And then the coaches were originally first Great Western Mark IIIs by Graham Farish, but the guy who sold me them had them transferred into the new measurement train with the Electrorail transfers, and they have done a very good job of it. There is a slight shade of yellow difference between them, but they look okay. Next up is the Freightliner 100-ton hoppers by Graham Farish. I got 13 of these from the same guy I bought everything else off. The only thing I have with these is that with Graham Farish couplings, again, I can't put them into Hunt couplings and I need to use tacky wax. So they're a little bit stiff going around corners and they have derailed a couple of times, but I managed to get some shots for the running session. Next up is the Virgin Pretendolino set. I'm not sure if these are particularly rare, but I didn't even know these existed. So when the guy had them for sale, I had to snatch them up. The DVT requires a decoder and the coaches will eventually receive light bars and Hunt couplings, but for now they're just nice running as they are. I do probably need to get a couple more locomotives that would realistically haul them. Next I have purchased two Class 220 Voyagers, both in Virgin Trains livery. One is from the gentleman on Facebook and the other one I saw for £75 in my local model shop, which I thought I had to get before anyone else did because I thought that's quite a bargain. One of them is currently DCC fitted and one of them I'm just using as a dummy unit at the minute. Along with those I bought a 5th extra coach off the guy on Facebook and this end car, which has been fitted with an NEM coupling quite well. So the whole Voyager can be hauled behind a diesel unit as if it were being rescued. Next is the Central Trains Class 156 dummy unit. This was a rare item I think because I've not seen these before. The only thing I'm going to do to this is probably put a couple of lighting decoders in it and a couple of light bars, as my 153 in London Midland livery, which hauls this, also has a light bar. Just wait for the passing vehicle. Similarly to that, I got a Class 153 dummy unit as well, which I can put behind my London Midland 153. The dummy units I think not a bad idea actually. I'll probably put a decoder in that one as well just for the lighting. Getting towards the end now, next is the Collis Rail Class 66 twin set. One of these is a motorised unit and one of them is a dummy. So I'll probably just put a couple of decoders in these and they will definitely be weathered once I get to grips with weathering the 66, and I might do a video on that, I might not. I have now increased my rake of the 46 ton wagons to 20, 10 away from my target of 30. I'm going to be adding a little bit of detail onto these, and a bit of painting for the handbrake and the axle boxes, and then they might receive some weathering as well. Similarly to that is the 24 ton wagons by in EWS livery by Graham Farish. I now have 36 of these. I didn't even realise how many I'd purchased until I counted them all, which is a bit long for this layout, 36, but at least it's a fairly realistic rake, and they do look good going behind the EWS locomotives. If you have seen on the Facebook page or have followed the running session 5, you would have seen briefly the cross-country Class 170. This unit was a ScotRail Class 170, however I have used the Electrorail transfers to convert it to cross-country livery. The only issue I had was the fact that the mudguards of the 170 were still in ScotRail blue, so I had to do my best to mix up a paint which was fairly similar to the cross-country claret. And then there was a slight gap here and there, and they didn't fit exactly, but they still look okay. And I'm quite happy with how the result has turned out, as Graham Farish do not sell a 3-car Class 170. Last on the list is the Virgin HST. Now obviously this is not a new piece of stock, I've had the HST since the very beginning. What I've done is I have counted which coaches I actually have, and then I've gone on the Hattons website and ordered the ones that I don't have, as previously I only had 5 extra coaches and you never see the 7-car units, so I wanted to get that 8th coach and I wanted it to be in the right formation. I had 2 of one coach and I was missing another. 2, sorry. So I sold the duplicate I had and I bought the 2 missing ones. So now I have the full HST set which I can put in the correct formation. The only other new piece of stock I can't show you today is the Class 57 Thunderbird by Graham Farish in Virgin Trains livery. That is currently at my local model shop for repair, as it has a broken gear, which I knew about when I bought it, but I did want one anyway. I'm not sure when that will be back due to the current lockdown and the non-essential shops closing again, so it'll be probably quite a wait before that comes back. But the main reason I purchased that was for a loco to haul the Pretendolino set. It will be a little bit of a job DCC fitting that, as it isn't ready with a socket, so there'll be some hard wiring involved. In terms of any future stock, I have my eyes on the Dapol 5-car Voyagers that have been announced. I'm really unsure on what livery to get. I think the Avanti West Coast one looks really nice. However, I'd love to make a 10-car unit of my cross-country current one as well, so I'm really not sure. The only other plans for stock I have is if Revolution Trains announce another rerun of the Pendolino, I would like to get an 11-car Avanti West Coast set. The next area I shall talk about is the station. You'll probably see a dramatic change over here from the last time I've shown you it. So the first thing I've done is I've added in this back wall to separate from the back scene. That's just done with a bit of wood and the Metcalf brick card. The next thing you probably notice mainly is the station surface is very different. I wanted to stray away from the painted unrealistic look which I had before, using just the frog tape. So what I've done is I have used the brick card from try and focus that scale model scenery, the network rail platform edging and the tactile paving slabs to create this platform look, which I'm quite happy with. If any of you follow the Facebook page, you'll know that I'm basing my station on Rugby, and Rugby has this very similar looking platform. The only downside I did have is that the brick sheets are darker on one side to make it look like they're weathered, and and a couple of places I've put them the wrong way round. So you've got these sudden lines of dark to light. But hopefully with all the details in the station you shouldn't be able to see that too much. And that is all the way around here, right to the end. Over in the corner there I have stuck in the tunnel walls for the corner section, and that obviously above there will be where the station building will sit. I have made up the wooden section for the station to sit on. It just needs a bit of trimming down where the tracks come out, and obviously that'll sit down there, and that'll be removable so I can get to the tracks for cleaning. You might also notice there that the yellow lines are actually stuck on. I've done that using the self-adhesive double yellow lines by Scale Model Scenery. Obviously these are designed for roads, but they work well as a station yellow line as well. I just need to do platform ones. Whilst we're over in the station, another thing to talk about is the weathering. If you've watched my Class 153 weathering video, you'll notice that I've started to weather some of the stock. I'm starting with basic stock, and then I'll move more complex and more expensive as I get better at it, as I don't want to ruin anything. I'll just stick in a couple of pictures now of some of the bits I've done. So I've got a Freightliner hopper. That's just done with some sleeper grind to start with. I've got the EWS open wagons, and then just a couple of the Pecco cheap wagons, and obviously this London Midland 153 and the East Mids 153 as well is done. If you remember in the last update I said I was unhappy with the sidings that I had previously here, so I've torn all that up and I've just gone straight through with a single track on the branch line now. It looks like we have some company for a little bit. I believe she knows not to go on the layout. As you might have guessed from the intro shot, I have now added some lighting into some areas on the layout. I've started with the warehouse scene, as that was easiest to do, as that is at baseboard level. So we've got some yard lights for the car park, and if you look there we've got some exterior building lights, and then we've got some lampposts over here as well. That double light there was an original one which I had last time just as a test, so now I've got all these in there. I'll just turn those on, see what those look like. And then in the dark it does bring the area to life quite well. If you look down there, I have purchased a couple of cars which have LEDs fitted in them. These are from Layouts for You. I think they were £3 each. There is a bit of bleeding of light on the red one. The silver one seems much better. The external building lights were from Kite's Lights, and these yard lights and the lampposts over here were all from Layouts for You. I have also added some lights to the farm area. So we've got 3 old style lampposts there, an interior light in that barn, and then an interior light in that shed there. I've hidden the wires with some bushes at the back, so they show up quite well. The only other light I didn't talk about was the interior light for the warehouse. Clearly someone's doing some overtime there. But I am very happy with how the lights have turned out so far, apart from this one which doesn't work for some reason. I'm not sure why, that'll have to be replaced. I do plan on lighting this town scene up as well with similar products to what I've used over by the warehouse area. It will mainly be lampposts and exterior lighting and a couple of interior lights. Obviously the whole section is removable, so I'm able to just take that out, add all the lights in, probably put it all on a plug and socket, and then that'll be nice and easily dropped back in. I think that'll look quite good with some lighting in some of the shops and lighting up some of these signs outside as well. I'll probably have quite a few of those cars with the lights on as well. Make it look a bit busier. An issue I'm now having is I'm finding it very difficult to program some of the DCC locomotives that I have. With the newer type of decoders, the select controller that I have has really outdated firmware, and I haven't been able to program any of my new stock on the Zen decoders yet. So I most likely will be looking at upgrading my controller. I have literally no idea which one I want or need. If there's anyone out there who could recommend me something, who knows my layout requirements, then that'd be great. Just leave it in the comments. I have been looking at the Prodigy, the Gauge Master Prodigy and the Gauge Master Express so far, but they obviously are rather expensive. So yeah, I'm really not sure which one to get at the moment, but the Hornby Select is proving a bit insufficient now. So that'll be it from me today. At the minute, all the stock is boxed away for the winter, as I plan to be doing mainly scenic stuff. I won't be planning on any running sessions. The next video I think will probably be another weathering video, and then come the new year I'll be starting on the station build. Thank you for watching, and head over to Rule 1 Model Hours if you enjoy the content here, as it's very similar over there, and Nick is building an excellent layout and has some brilliant videos on some other things. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.